Hello, I'm DeDe, and in this 30-minute session, we'll do some traditional poses with an added variation in the placement of our feet, our hands, our torso, our arms, and or our legs. And this will create a fresh experience for our practice. Here's what you'll need: a yoga mat, if you're on a hard floor like I am, a folded towel, if you need it, and some water for hydration. You'll want to take off your shoes and socks, make sure you have plenty of room around you, and remember to always move at your own mindful pace. So if that means you skip something or you make something a little easier, then feel free to do that. All right, join me now. Mountain pose. Feet under hips, knees are soft, pelvis is level all the way around, rib cage gently pulling in, ears back over the shoulders, and the shoulders are back and down. Now we'll start out here with our hands together in front of our heart, and bring your thumbs just a couple inches away from your sternum. You can close your eyes, or you can leave your eyes open. And then we'll start to deepen the breathing, and that means taking the inhale down a little bit lower in the lungs than we normally do, and then exhaling for maybe a little bit longer than we normally do. So whatever you were doing right before you began doing this, and whatever you're going to do after, try not to think about those things. Think about what's happening right now, like the feeling of the floor beneath your feet, the feeling of the rise and the fall of your breathing, the feeling of the weight distribution across both of your feet, and the feeling of your body in this beautiful straight line that makes up mountain pose. So deep breathing helps to create the right internal and external environment for our practice. And bringing ourselves right here, right now, mentally, helps us establish a connectivity between our brain and our body and our breath. Now, if your eyes are closed, you can let them open. Let's take the arms down to the sides. And then we'll flex and extend the wrists. So you bring your fingers as close to your inner forearm as you can, and then your outer forearm as well. Like you're grabbing something, and then you're releasing something. So what do you feel like you want to grab in your life, in your experience? And what do you want to release? Bring that into your awareness now. All right, and then relax your arms. Now let's do some ankle circles. Right ankle circles around. Ooh, that feels nice. And then left. Keep breathing in and breathing out. So along with the circling of the ankle goes a circling of the leg. You can see the knee is moving around in a circular motion. One more. All right, now we'll alternate tiptoes. So just go way up on one set of tiptoes and then switch. Can you feel the toe stretch as you do this? The underside of the toes, that feels good, doesn't it? Let's do something similar with our hands and our fingers. Feel the stretch on your bottom hand and your wrist. So anytime we pick up part of one of our feet when we're standing, we're challenging our balance. This is not a lot of challenge, but it may feel like a lot of challenge sometimes for you or for somebody else. So if you ever feel overly challenged with your balance, one way you can modify is by not lifting your foot or the part of your foot as high, or you can go over to a wall or a sturdy chair or a countertop to steady yourself. So this might be one of those moments now. Let's go up on both sets of tiptoes. It doesn't have to be very high. And then down. Turn your palms forward. The arms start to lift along with the heels. So I'm showing you progressively larger arms. You can do those with me if it feels comfortable. And we can also go up higher on our tiptoes. One more. Now let's lift our right knee up. Right knee goes up, and then set it down, and left knee. Now what if we assist with our arms under our leg? Inhale, and when you're ready, exhale and switch. Flex your foot on your lifting leg. Are you able to maintain your mountain pose with your upper body? It's still tall and lifted. Let's do 4 more. Do you find yourself breathing faster? You're probably also breathing more shallow. So go back to the deeper breathing. One more. All right, feet come down, hip joint distance apart. Inhale, hands come together. Exhale. Now we add the body. So inhale, push your hips back. Exhale, sit back. Now, what if you were to revolve your hands and bring the backs of your hands together? How does that feel? Can you turn your palms toward you and then toward the side walls and get the backs of your hands together? It's okay if you can't. Now as we're sitting into our chair pose, we're allowing our heels to become heavier than our toes. However far apart your ankles are, that's the same distance apart that your knees will maintain, whether they're bent or straight. 2 more. Hands on the legs. Inhale, the tailbone lifts up, just the tailbone now. The rest of the back stays neutral. Exhale, bring the tailbone toward the ground. And we'll do that again. That feels good on my low back. How does it feel on yours? Two more. Make sure you're supporting your back by having your hands on your legs. One more time. Now we're not lifting or dropping the tailbone, it's neutral. Press off your legs and stand all the way up. Now we'll shift the weight forward toward our toes, and then we'll shift the weight back toward our heels. Fingers come together in front, and if you can manage it, fingers come together in back. So the center of gravity, the pelvis goes forward and back. So the toes are light here, and the toes are heavy here. Now we'll come to the center and inhale. Exhale, let your weight flow to the right foot. Your arms go opposite, and then inhale and flow your weight to the left foot. Are you comfortable enough to turn your gaze? Or do you need to keep your eyes forward? Either way. Now let's come back to the center. We'll pick up the feet and step them out so we're much wider. Our stance is much wider. Bend the knees, turn the toes out, hands on your legs. Inhale, and then exhale, push your hips back and push your knees out wide. Hands together in front of the heart, we'll do it again. Straighter knees, maybe your focal point goes up, and then very bent knees, open knees. Focal point maybe goes down. Let's take the hands on the legs this time. Inhale, you're a little bit forward with your torso. Drop your right shoulder down and exhale. Oh, that feels nice on the shoulder and the back. Come back to the center and inhale. Keep pushing your knees apart. Exhale, left shoulder. And then again. All right, and then we inhale up. And on the exhale, we're turning this way. So the right foot is the front foot, and then keep your balance here. We're coming up on the tiptoes of the back foot. Now this is a high lunge. So we bend the front knee, and we try not to bend the back knee very much. So you're going to really feel that stretch here through your hip flexors. This is a high lunge. You can do whatever you like with your arms. You can keep your hands on your hips. You can bring your arms out like a goalpost. You can bring your arms up. What feels best for you? Maybe you're tipping your chin up a little bit with your ears over your shoulders. Make sure that your front knee is over your front ankle. Now let's release that, and we'll rise up mindfully now, changing directions. Make sure your feet are on a railroad track, not a tightrope. On the tiptoes of your rear foot, and then we sink into our front knee, and we try to keep our back knee relatively straight. And then we find a good arm position that works for us on this side. What works for you? Most amazing things that I find in yoga is the fact that we're holding still and yet our heart rate starts to climb. I really like that about yoga. Do you notice that? How do you feel about it? All right, and then we release that. We rise up, just for a moment stay here, toes are turned out, knees are bending out and open. Inhale, hands on legs, exhale, hinge forward. So this is different than what we did a few moments ago. Let's do that again, inhale. When you're ready to exhale, keep your back straight and long. 2 more. One. Push your knees wide. Now we're turning this way again, finding that high lunge. But then, making sure the feet are on a railroad track, we flatten the back foot, so the heel's down. But the back foot is turning forward slightly. Now we turn the heart center straight on toward the right leg, and we bend the right knee as much as we can, but we keep the left knee straight. Now do this with me. Take your right hand on your thigh, turn your chest, and then bring your left arm out like a goalpost, like a half goalpost, 90 degrees. Now we have our hand on our thigh, push with that hand, and that will help you create more back bend, also known as spinal extension. So you create the right amount for you. Bend your front knee, straighten your back knee, push with your hand, draw your ears back over your shoulders, and breathe. And then let's come up, and then mindfully switching directions. Find your high lunge, railroad track with the feet, and then flatten your back foot, turn your chest straight onto the left, Left hand on your thigh, right arm like a goalpost, and then push with your left hand, and that's going to create more back bend. If you want more back bend, it's not obligatory. You can have less. This is all about your comfort and maybe finding the edge of your comfort, but still staying comfortable. Relax your shoulders. Is your back foot still flat? Keep it flat. So this is a little different, isn't it? The pushing with the hand, can you feel the difference? Turning to the front, turn your toes out, bend your knees, sit back with your hips. Now we're going to tip forward and we'll just hold here. So just to be sure, everything is still straight and long through our back. And then we're coming up. Now turn your left toes in, right toes out. Now for this, your heels are intersecting on an invisible straight line. And for this one, both knees are straight. Now do this with me. Level out your pelvis, but then tip your pelvis over on its side. Make sure that your front knee and your front toes are facing the same direction, straight ahead. Keep your waist the same length on both sides. This is triangle. Let's leave the top arm here next to the side of the body. The right hand comes down onto the shin. Now, check in. Are you still the same length on both sides of your waist? You want to try to be. Now, the top hip and the top shoulder roll back. Looking up, it could be challenging for your neck. So looking forward or looking down are the other two options. So you do the one that works for you. If you have any stress in your front leg, your right knee, just unlock your knee a little bit more. See how that feels. And then if you're not looking forward currently, go ahead and do that. Bend your right knee and we'll come up. Turning to the other direction, right toes in, left toes out. Make sure you didn't get any closer together with your feet. Knee and toes facing straight that way. Navel toward me. Tip your pelvis over on its side. That's key. Same length on both sides of the waist. And here's the left hand. And here's the right arm. Now challenge yourself here. Top hip and top shoulder rotating up toward the sky. Maybe your focal point as well. If you feel too much stretch in your left leg, bring your hand up higher on your shin. Make sure that your hips are not going back and your shoulders forward. This is actually out of alignment. So you have to bring everything into alignment with your heels. How does your neck feel? Do a head position that works for your neck. Now we're coming up. And we're switching sides. One more triangle pose. Turn your left toes in, right toes out. Turn your navel toward me, tip. Now we'll start the same way that we did last time, but here's the variation. Bottom hand in front of your heart center. How does that feel? Can you do both hands in front of your heart center? So if you're used to doing it here or here, this is a variation. It's harder for your core muscles. Can you feel it all around your torso? I sure can. Are you still able to maintain your long waist on both sides? Can you still breathe? Do your best. Now let's release that and come up. Right toes in, left toes out, navel toward me, tip your pelvis, traditional triangle, and then maybe the non-traditional triangle. Remember, every time we change something and make it a little different from what we're used to, that's cognitive development as well. It's kinesthetic development in our bodies, and it's cognitive for our brains. And I don't know about you, but right now my breathing is different too because of all the contraction going on through my core. Can you notice that about your breathing as well? Turn your toes toward me and then step your feet in. Mountain pose. Turn your palms and your inner elbows forward. Stand tall. Eyes can close here if you like. Get our balance, take your left arm out, take your right foot back, and the toes touch down lightly. Now if you can, this is a balancing pose, so remember to go over next to a wall or a countertop or a sturdy chair if you need to. See if you can now take your right foot off the ground. And if you can, then see if you can grab onto your ankle. Grabbing onto your ankle is an option. Picking your foot up is an option. Having your foot behind you, you want to strive to achieve at least that before you try the other ones. So do you feel the stretch wherever you are with your leg? Here in the front of your thigh and here in the front of your hip? You should be able to feel that. Now let's release, and then we'll switch. Take this arm out as a counterbalance, take this foot back. Bending, maybe. Holding your ankle if you can, maybe. If you are doing this variation or the foot up variation, try to get your thighs side by side. Right foot goes forward, heel, flex the foot, bend your standing leg and push your hips back. So I'll show you that from the side. Right foot forward, hips back, and then take both hands on your left thigh. Lift your tailbone a little higher. Pull the tailbone away from the stretching side heel. And then we'll come up and we'll do the other leg. So take your left heel forward, push your hips back. Let's take both hands on the right thigh. Make sure your right knee is slightly bent. It's imperative that we push the hips back to start the stretch. And then pull your tailbone away from your left heel and breathe. Behind the back, lace the fingers or place your hands on your hips and draw the elbows back. So either way, your knees are soft, your chest is lifted. Expand your chest, breathe into the expanding part. And then release, roll your shoulders back and down. So So to offset cognitive decline in two different ways, this flow style yoga practice took traditional poses and added a variation of arms, torso, things like that, head position. And that helps to train the body and the brain. So as usual, thanks for joining me. And until next time, be well.